Most financial content tells you what you're doing wrong. You're not saving enough, you started too late, you should be further along by now. This video is different, because here's what the data actually shows. 77% of American workers would struggle to pay their bills if their paycheck was delayed by just 1 week. Nearly 40% aren't putting anything into retirement, and over a third couldn't cover a $400 emergency without going into debt. That's the real baseline, not the Instagram highlight reel, not the finance influencer who's been investing since they were 12, the actual average. And if you're watching this, if you're asking questions about money at all, there's a very real chance you're already ahead of that baseline in ways you haven't given yourself credit for. 9 signs. By the end of this, you'll know exactly where you stand.
Sign 1. You know the difference between income and wealth. These two words get used like they mean the same thing. They don't. A doctor earning $380,000 a year and spending $410,000 is not building wealth. That's an expensive treadmill, running fast, going nowhere. A teacher earning $58,000 and investing 15% consistently is building wealth. Slower, but real. Income is the raw material. Wealth is what you build with it. Wealth is your money generating more money when you're not working, when you're sleeping, when you're on vacation, when you eventually stop working entirely. Most people never make this distinction. They chase the bigger paycheck, assuming the wealth follows automatically. It doesn't. Wealth is built deliberately, not earned accidentally. If you already understand that your paycheck and your wealth are two different things, you're thinking in a way most people never get to.
Sign 2. You've already started investing, even if it feels small. Here's the math that actually matters. Someone who starts investing $200 a month at 30 and never increases that amount ends up with more money at 60 than someone who starts at 40 investing $500 a month. Not slightly more, significantly more. The decade head start beats the bigger monthly amount every time. If you have any investment account open right now, $50 a month, $20 a month, whatever amount, the time is already working. The compounding has already started. 40% of Americans have nothing going into retirement right now. Nothing. If you have something, anything moving in the right direction, you're already doing what most people aren't. You don't need to start bigger. You just needed to start. And you did. Sign 3. Getting a raise makes you uncomfortable in a good way. Most people get a raise and immediately think about what to upgrade. New car, better apartment, more dinners out. Within a few months, the raise is completely absorbed, spent, invisible. If you've ever gotten a raise and your first thought was, okay, how much of this should actually go toward investing? That discomfort is a sign, not a problem, a sign. It means you're treating the raise as a question instead of a permission slip. One of those people ends up with wealth. The other ends up with a nicer car, the same bank account, and probably more debt. Lifestyle inflation is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It just quietly raises your baseline until you need more just to feel normal, and the cycle never ends. The fact that you pause and question it, even for a second, puts you in a very small group of people who are actually thinking about where their money goes.
Sign 4. You have an actual number, not just a vague idea. Most people are saving and investing without knowing what they're actually building toward. They're moving in the right direction, but they don't know what the destination looks like or when they've arrived. That's not a plan. That's hope with a savings account. Here's the simplest way to find your number. Take what you'd need per month in retirement, multiply by 12 for the annual amount, then multiply that by 25. That's roughly your freedom number, the amount of invested assets that can support your lifestyle indefinitely through a standard withdrawal rate. If you spend $4,000 a month, Your number is around 1.2 million. Having that number changes everything. It turns a vague someday into a specific milestone. It makes the abstract concrete, and it lets every financial decision you make point in a real direction instead of just a general one. Most people never calculate it. If you have, even roughly, you have a target that most people are building toward accidentally without even knowing it exists. Sign 5. You don't panic sell when the market drops. Behavioral finance research is very clear on this. One of the most expensive things an investor can do is sell during a downturn. You lock in a permanent loss and then miss the recovery, which is when all the real gains happen. Every major market drop in history has been followed by a recovery. Every single one. When the market drops, that's actually when things go on sale. The investor who stays in or adds more during a correction is buying assets at a discount that the panic sellers are handing to them. The pandemic market crash wiped out a lot of portfolios, not because the companies disappeared, but because people sold at the bottom. They felt something and they acted on it, and the market recovered without them. If you've sat through a market correction with your hands off your account, even when it was uncomfortable, even when the news was loud, you made one of the most intelligent financial decisions available to you. Staying invested during volatility is not passive. It's one of the most active and disciplined things you can do with your money.
Sign 6. You ask, should I buy this? Instead of just, can I afford it? Can I afford it and should I buy it are completely different questions, and most people only ever ask the first one. Can I afford it just checks if the money is available. Should I buy it asks whether this is actually the best use of that money right now. You can afford a lot of things that you shouldn't buy. That's the gap where wealth either gets built or quietly disappears. The moment you started asking the second question, even occasionally, even imperfectly, you crossed a line that most people never cross. It's not about saying no to everything. It's about making a real decision instead of just reacting to a price tag. One question leads to a life that looks successful from the outside, but doesn't build anything. The other one builds something real. Sign 7. You understand that your house is not your wealth-building strategy. Home ownership is held up as the ultimate financial achievement, and owning a home can be great. You need somewhere to live, but your primary residence is not a money machine. Here's the honest math. After mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs, and the cost of any renovations, the real return on a primary residence over 30 years is often between 1% and 2% annually. The S&P 500 has averaged around 7 to 10% annually over the same time periods. And the deeper issue, your house doesn't generate income. You can't use the equity to pay monthly bills unless you sell it or borrow against it. The Zillow estimate going up doesn't put anything in your account. You can't spend appreciation. Real wealth building happens through assets that generate cash flow while you hold them, not assets you live in and pay for every month. Your home is part of your life, absolutely, but understanding that it's a lifestyle asset and not a retirement plan, that's a distinction most homeowners never make.
Sign 8. You've thought about income beyond your paycheck. Most people's entire financial life runs on a single source. One job, one employer, one paycheck. And when that paycheck stops, for any reason, the whole system collapses immediately. That's not a financial life. That's a financial life rented from an employer. If you've ever asked yourself, what if I had something generating income that didn't require all of my time? That question alone puts you in a different category. Because that question is where every second income stream starts. Not with the business plan, not with the investment account, with the question. There are 6 types of income: earned income from your job, dividend income from stocks, interest income from savings and binds, rental income from property, business income from something you built, and portfolio income from selling appreciated assets. Most people are on one track. The financially smart person asks which other tracks they could be on. Even one additional stream, however small, changes the entire risk profile of your financial life. You don't need to quit your job. You just need to stop treating it as the only option. Sign 9. You feel in motion, not behind. There's a version of financial anxiety that comes from comparing where you are to where you think you should be. And that comparison can either wake you up or it can paralyze you. If it paralyzes you, if it makes you feel so far behind that you stop moving, then it's working against you, not for you. Here's the shift that matters. In motion beats perfect sitting still, every single time. The people who build real wealth aren't always the ones who started with the most money or the most knowledge. They're the ones who started, imperfectly, inconsistently, without a perfect plan, and just kept going. Progress doesn't always look like a big number. Sometimes it just looks like the account exists, the habit is running, the question is being asked, the number has been written down. If you're watching this, if you're thinking about this stuff at all, you're not behind. You're in motion. And in motion, pointed in the right direction, is the whole game. The goal was never a number. The number is just proof that the right habits ran long enough. Keep the habits running. The number follows.
9 signs. Not a test, not a score, just a framework for seeing where you actually are, not where the highlight reel tells you that you should be. The financial baseline in this country is genuinely low, and the behaviors that feel ordinary to you, saving something, investing something, asking the right questions, not panicking when the market moves, those aren't ordinary. They're signs. You don't need to be perfect with money to be smarter than most people with money. You just need to be moving in the right direction, consistently, for a long time. That's the whole thing. If even 3 or 4 of these signs hit, you're already building something real. Most people around you are not. Give yourself credit for that. Then keep going.